just another work day at the lab. And after working a 14-hour day and bringing home a nanoscopic $122.96, after Uncle Sam gets his cut, it dawned on me that 20 whole years of my life had gone by. Wait a minute, what am I doing? Look at me, throwing away my precious life when I should have been aiming for the stars. Rich people don't trade their time for money. It's time to wake up and do this. One time for your mind.
Welcome back to another episode of One Time for Your Mind. I am your host for this episode, T. Tate, and today's episode is brought to you by Green Diamond Rooster Food Products and Big Shots Photography. So today's episode is going to be about management. So let's go ahead and get into it. So when we think about management, either one or two things happens. Either you have a good feeling because you have a good relationship with management, or you feel irritated because you have a bad relationship with management. But one thing is for certain, management can make or break the organization, the operation, and your company. Definition of management: the process of dealing with or controlling things or people. Also, the definition of management is trickery or deceit. You don't believe me? Look it up. It's in Webster's dictionary. I didn't make that up. And it's there's a sentence right under trickery or deceit, and it says, if there has been any management in the business, it has been concealed from me. Meaning, if you have manipulated my business in any way or managed the process in any way, nobody told me. So you can look at management one of two ways. You can look at it as a process of dealing with and controlling a situation, group of people, or process, or you can look at it as trickery or deceit. And ironically enough, you figure out which one of those ways you view management by the type of managers you have had in the past and or currently are dealing with. Or if you are in management, you may view it based off the type of managerial style that you have. So I've been in management for about 15 years consistently. And I would say I am a hands-on manager. I also believe that I would not ask another person to do something that I would not ask myself to do or be able to do myself. There are some jobs that I have managed that I have not had a lot of experience on the actual job, but a great amount of experience in managing people. When I deal with people and customer service and my associates, I don't look at somebody as, even though they tell you it's a hierarchy, I don't look at people as a hierarchy. We work together, because if you didn't exist, I don't have anybody to management. Therefore, I manage. That means I don't have a job. So I need you just as much as you need me, if not more. Because if the people that are doing the actual job, boots on the ground, so to speak, if they all decided they would stop today, what good would your managers be? Also, one of the first things I learned when I became a supervisor was people do not work for a company, they work for you. And I took that to heart, because that's the truth. When people quit a company, you don't quit the company. You quit because the person you have direct contact with either rubbed you the wrong way, did not appreciate you the way you felt like you needed to be appreciated, did not meet your needs, did not supply what you needed to be successful, or they failed you in some way, form, or fashion, or you just didn't respect them, y'all didn't vibe well. Now, what I would be lying if I said that I didn't have a couple of run-ins with people. I did, I have, and I'm sure I will in the future. But I still managed to treat everybody with respect, because you showed up to do a job, not to be my friend, but to get a job done. And I want to do everything I can to make you successful, because in management, the more successful your people are, the more successful you are as a manager. Now, are there some managers who go into meetings and have a us versus them mentality? Yes, there are. I have had a couple of them in the past. As a matter of fact, a little funny story. I got my first supervisor position by being promoted by somebody who could not stand me. And she said it to me in the interview process. She said, you know, T. Tate, I got to be honest with you. I do not like you as a person. Matter of fact, if I saw you on the street and I didn't know you from in here, I probably would never speak to you. You're just not my type of person to be around. But then she turned around and said, but I cannot deny your work ethics. I don't know anybody who works the way that you work, can get things done the way that you can, or that has a sway over people just naturally the way that you do. So I would not deny you this position. And I in turn told her, and we're just going to call her Brenda for all intents and purposes right now. I in turn told Brenda, I don't like you either, sis. You don't have anything to worry about. We would never be friends outside of here, but I'm going to respect you because you have a job to do, and so do I. And I also learned a lot from her. So although she was not an amicable manager for me at that time, I learned a lot from her. She was very no nonsense. There was a clear and cut line between her and all of the associates. She never teetered on that line. She made sure everybody understood what her purpose there was, and also their purpose there in the roles that they played. So we got along just fine, and she got the job done each and every time, and I admired that about her. And that's one thing about managers. You can get something good from a manager, but not like the person. There may be something about them that you admire, but not them as a person. And you have to be able to separate the two. And in turn, managers have to be able to separate those two things. I have had people that work for me that I did not like, but they did a great job at their job, so I stayed out of their way and let them do their job. You got to be able to read the room when you are a manager. You have to know the type of people that you are around and who you are managing. Some people you can talk slang when you're talking to them. Dare I say it, use a couple of profane words when you're talking to them. Other people you cannot speak to in that manner. They do not like it and they don't respond well to it. It is your job as a manager to know your audience and to motivate them in the way that they need so that they can be successful, because in turn that makes you what? Successful as a manager. Now, when you meet a manager who feels that you are beneath them, a couple of things have to happen. You stand your ground. You do not have to be disrespectful, but you can let them know, we may not have the same title, but we breathe the same air. We bleed the same way. So you are indeed my equal, whether you know it or not. You work for somebody same as I, unless they are the owner of the company. And even then, there are restrictions and guidelines that they have to follow. So in turn, whether the other person pays them or not, they have somebody they have to report to as well. There's checks and balances. Those are the wonderful things about living here in the U.S. of A. There are a lot of checks and balances for those in power. So don't think that you don't have a voice if you are the employee. But once you have established that I am not beneath you, I am going to do my job to the best of my ability, you also have to establish a line of whether or not you want to play with them, whether or not you want to speak to them a certain way, and whether or not you're comfortable with them speaking to you a certain way. But I will say this, if you play with a puppy, it'll lick you in the face. So the more you play with them, they're going to in turn play with you. And then there's going to come a day when you don't feel like playing or they don't feel like playing, and now those blurred lines are causing a mess. Best thing you can do, set the tone, set your expectations, and stay on your level, whatever that is. And I don't mean like I'm higher than you or you are lower than me. I mean your mental capacity level. This is what you do. You need to behave as such, because people view you in a certain way when you carry a certain title. But also, I have known many a person in my life who did not have that title, who I revered just as much as I did the people who did have that title. Those people are managers by nature. Those are the type of people that you look to because you know they can control a situation, whether it's spoken or unspoken. Those are the movers and shakers and what we call the influencer. Same as they have influencers on social media. What those influencers on social media do is manage the flow of somebody else's businesses. They start to promote in a certain way, and it just kind of, without forcing them, gets people to migrate a certain way. And those are the movers and shakers of your company. Those are the people, if you are in management, that you want to encourage to get to the next level, because those people can sway the other people that work for you one way or the other. If they do like you, they can sway people to work harder for you. If they do not like you, they will make people want to revolt against you at some point or another. So you want to be careful when you notice those natural leaders or natural managers in your organization. Those are the pillars of what you do. And when you manage people, the other thing I would tell you to look out for is don't get yourself in sticky situations. If you stay away from all of the isms, you don't have to worry about it. Sexism, racism, you name it. You stay away from it. You don't have to worry about it. Cut and dry. This is where I get my check. I do what I need to do here. And then I go home and I partake in whatever else it is that I want to partake in. But once people view you in a certain way, they will continuously view you that way. Because people prefer to cling to the bad rather than the good. So they will always remember those poor infractions that you made when you were starting out in management, or when you handle a situation poorly, or remember that one time when you cussed at me and I let it slide. They will always remember those things. So if you, being in a position that you are in, walk that fine line, you don't have to worry about those things happening. Okay? If the rules are in black and white, I'm going to go with black and white. And that's how you stay safe as a manager. And I also would encourage everybody to treat everybody with respect, because it is a two-way system. You need them, they need you. Most managers are what is considered your hub between the higher ups and the operation level associates. So you need them. They're that go between. They can either be your voice or they can be your ruin if they go into a meeting and sway it one way or the other. There are a lot of times where companies promote division amongst management and regular associates. They tell you have to think a certain way. They don't think that you should eat near them. They don't think that you should park near them. They don't think that you should dress the way that they dress, because they want you to be viewed as somebody different. And viewing somebody as something different and their behavior are two different things. They can view you as whatever it is that you dress yourself up to be, but your actions are what they are going to lock in on. So when you have a good manager, when they always stay true to their word, when they look out when they say they're going to look out, when they look out when they say they're going to look out, when they take the time to pay attention to you and notice the small things, you will, no matter what they dress like, that respect will be there. Now, if you dress like $1,000,000 when you come to work, but you treat everybody beneath you like scum on the bottom of your shoe, they will treat you like you are the scum on the bottom of their shoe. And at some point, you'll have a mutiny. So if you don't want to run the risk of that, don't worry so much about dressing up your outside. Make sure that your actions are lined up with the person that you would like to be. Not all managers are bad. Not all managers are good. There's always going to be an in-between. And you want to make sure that when you deal with them, you deal with them accordingly based off their action, not their position. Okay? So in closing, you just want to make sure that if you are the manager, you're an unforgettable one that people want to go to bat for, because people work for you. They do not work for the company. They will quit you. They will not quit the company. And if you are an associate and you are having a hard time dealing with your manager, always document your conversations. If it is a difficult manager, document your conversations, and when applicable, make sure you ask for a third party to witness the conversations at hand, because we all know sometimes crooked managers get amnesia when they walk away from you. So when you can, talk with a witness, document all conversations you have, and most importantly, cover your own beep. You know what I'm saying. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, T Tate. One time for your mind, 3 times or get left behind.
I hope you've enjoyed this beautiful episode of Season 3.
One time.
One time for your mind.
One time.
Prepare to be enlightened.